MTG Scoundrels, it's in the cardboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Modern Weekly. Today on the docket, we have Gruul Broodscale versus Esper Blink in this modern matchup. There's a Cavern of Souls on Eldrazi after the Blink player played a Flooded Strand, and a Soul Guide Lantern is on the battlefield. End step crack of the Flooded Strand. Looks like going to 19 here, finding a shadowy backstreet. And we'll have a Surveil incoming. Esper Blink proving to be one of the better grindier decks in the format. And Broodscale proving itself to be one of the top 3 combo decks in the format. Nothing like some good modern Magic the Gathering. Shadowy backstreet. Surveilled the land into the bin. Here's a Thoughtseize. Revealing Broodscale. Kozilek's Command and 2 Glaring Fleshrakers. Looks as though Broodscale is not long for this world. He'll be going to the bin. Bring us to 20-17. This Broodscale list playing a little bit different of a list. Playing fetches in the main. You'll see most Broodscale lists playing the Carplusian Forest and Growth of the Burn Willows, but not here. There was a polluted Delta in passing. Eldrazi Temple into Glaring Fleshraker. Passing the turn. End step, crack in the fetch. Finding a Meticulous Archive. We'll have another Surveil incoming. Keeping that one on top, untapping. Playing a Plains. Has the land for turn. Ooh, a little bit of a misplay here. Actually going to allow to not cast that, looks like. Good respect between the players there, though generally that would just fizzle with no legal target. Or at least wouldn't destroy the Glaring Fleshraker. Unless a permanent left the battlefield that turn. 3 mana, Glaring Fleshraker. That'll trigger. Dealing 2 damage. And looks like Wooded Foothills going to get cracked. In response to the crack of the Wooded Foothills, here's a Solitude. Exiling Ephemerate. To go ahead and exile one of the Glaring Fleshrakers, and there is an Ephemerate on the Solitude to get rid of the other Glaring Fleshraker. So I'll bring us to 24-14. Just finding a forest here. Bring us to 23-14. That is an ugly forest. Easy to find, though. Okay. So here is a Malevolent Rumble, and as the spell that was initially going to get cast there. Decent targets. Basking Broodscale is going to get taken. passing the turn. Looks like the Ephemerate is just going to end up getting put into exile here. The Solitude attacking in. So we will be at 20 to 17 after the lifelink and damage. Ooh, Writhing Chrysalis. Coming with 2 spawns. This is something the Gruul decks have definitely picked up as a threat. Writhing Chrysalis proving itself to be one of the better commons to ever be printed. Ooh, no land drop here either. And passing. There is an Urza's Saga. Writhing Chrysalis getting in for just 2 damage here. And there is Failure in response. Or on the end step, excuse me. In response to the failure, here's a K command. Going after the failure. And that Fatal Push is now going to eat the Writhing Chrysalis. Putting 1 top, 2 to the bottom, drawing a card. Oh, looks like that's a Blade of the Blood Chief. So combo is in hand here. And Solitude's still on board. There's an odd world where maybe the Solitude was the correct choice to try to get rid of. Alright, going to take the damage, which will bring us to 17 to 18, excuse me. Saga trigger goes to 2. Here is an Ancient Stirrings. Lots of options. K command, Broodscale being chief among them. Vexing Bauble, probably not what you want here. Taking the K command there. Which in this case would deal with the Solitude. So now it's just a matter of seeing if the Blink player will tap out. Though the beatdown is on. Well, there's K command. No Ephemerate. One of them got exiled casting the Solitude in the first place, and then the second one bounced it to keep it on the board. So K command can exile the Solitude, make 5 dudes. Saga triggers, floating a mana. Finding Blade of the Blood Chief. Plenty of cards in hand here for the Blink player. So it's not exactly wide open. Here's a Cavernous Souls. And 1 mana, casting the Basking Broodscale. Sacking a dude, attempting to attach. And there's the Fatal Push. That'll deal with the Broodscale here. There's a second Blade of the Blood Chief. And here's Ophelia getting cast on end step. Ophelia targeting a token. Attacking for 2. And a Psychic Frog. Bring us to 15 to 18. Well, there's a Walking Ballista. On 1. And a Blade attaching. Wow, and scooping them up from there. Game 1 going to Gruul Broodscale. Thank you so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. Moving to sideboard options here. Funny enough, this Broodscale is playing a Shadow Spear in the board. But really, it's probably going to bring in another Vexing Bauble. Some removal, probably some dismembers, gemstone caverns, that sort of thing. Try not to mess with your plan too much, and good things will happen. In terms of what Esper Blink is bringing in, more removal between Prismatic Ending, maybe some marches of Otherworldly Light. Already probably has the playset of Fatal Pushes in the main. Essentially stuff to just deal with the Broodscale combo at instant speed. Though you could also see something like Clarion Conqueror come in as well. That's a good answer to stop the combo, and a difficult card for Broodscale to remove. Unless they in fact cast a K command for 3. Moving on to our sponsors, definitely check out our friends over at Arcane Artistry. They make wonderful food, clue, and treasure tokens in the stained glass style. Link to their Etsy in the description. They've been featured over on EDH Hijinks as well as the Spike Feeders. They're good quality tokens that'll last you almost a lifetime in my opinion. Solid acrylic. They can definitely take a beating. Arcane Artistry. Hopefully coming out with new tokens soon. Also check out our friends over at Grove Warden Games, host of our channel. Friends of the channel. The link to their storefront is in the description. Also check out artist of our channel, Sean Gerard. They make wonderful art and are open to new projects. Their QR code to their Instagram is up on the screen, and their email is in the description. Great for gifts to friends or for professional projects as well. Definitely check them out. And last but not least, check out our socials. We are at MTG Scoundrels over on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Facebook. Most active over on Blue Sky, so definitely give us a follow over there. Appreciate all the new people that have followed us over on Blue Sky. We've managed to get ourselves onto some of the creator lists for Magic the Gathering over on Blue Sky. So it'll be a little easier to find us. So we appreciate that. check out. Soon in the future here, we're going to be having a video going over the modern format, the best decks and what are worth actually kind of investing in the future, least likely to hit bans, that sort of thing. But also kind of doing a small dive into each deck list so you know how the deck works. So check that out on the horizon when it comes up. And definitely subscribe, like, comment below. Let us know what decks you would like in future videos. Alright, fellow scoundrels, we are moving on to Game 2 here of Gruul Broodscale versus Esper Blink here in the modern format. Looks like Blink going to 6, as is the Broodscale list. Pre-game action. Looks like we have a Gemstone Caverns here. Exiling. Oh, a Glaring Fleshraker. Getting its luck counter, and I'll now tap for any color. Carplusion Forest, after the Polluted Delta was played. Here's an Ancient Stirrings. Wow, 5 lands. Nothing like 5 lands on top. Difficult decision. I guess taking the Urza's Saga. Give the best chance at hitting the combo. But there is a Blade of the Blood Chief. So maybe the Saga will be going for one of those hate pieces in terms of Vexing Bauble. To try to stop the Solitude shenanigans. Though Springleaf Drum also a very important part of this deck in terms of comboing off. Shadowy Backstreet, getting found off of the Polluted Delta Crack. Surveil incoming. Keeping it on top. Untapping. Polluted Delta getting cracked immediately. Finding a Hollowed Fountain. That'll bring us to 20 to 16. Into a Psychic Frog. One of the better ways this Esper Blink list can really take over the game. Here's the Urza's Saga we saw earlier. 2 Broodscales in hand and an Ancient Stirrings. Alright, Broodscale. Going to be cast and have the blade attached here, but no mana to create any spawns. And no Walking Ballista 0 follow-up. Here's a Ketramose the New Dawn. One of the main reasons these Blink decks exist. Exiling the cards from the bin to give it flying. It'll go over the top, draw a card. And of course, drawing a card initially off the Ketramose to lose 1 life. So I'll bring us to 18 to 15. See what's going on here in the second main phase. Solitude exiling Phalia to exile the Broodscale. I'll bring us to 20 to 14, drawing another card. Saga going to 2. There's a Dismember in hand here, which does deal with the Ketramose. because that is what the Broodscale player is thinking about now. And as to whether dealing with it immediately is the call. I mean, you could just take 2 damage here, because the Gemstone Caverns does tap for black. And looks like that is what's going to happen here. Dismember going to deal with the Ketramose. Then follow it up with an Ancient Stirring. So that'll bring us to 17 to 14. Went from seeing 5 lands in the first one. I think there's 0 lands there in the second. Oh no, there is a Stomping Ground. But deciding to get the Walking Ballista here. Polluted Delta, getting in with the Psychic Frog. That'll be 15 to 14, drawing another card. Psychic Frog, still being one of the most broken cards that's been printed in a while. There's an Overlord of the Baelmerk. That'll be impended. Deciding to go get the Solitude, solid play. And passing. Ooh, forgot to tick down the Overlord, that's alright. Probably will catch it here in a second. We're generally friendly about these sorts of things. Alright, in response to the trigger, making a construct. And there is a Vexing Bauble. We're at the point, though, where the Esper Blink list can just ignore the Bauble, just hold up 5 mana, and keep attacking in with a Psychic Frog. Ooh, no follow-up land play. I believe the Springleaf Drum was drawn on that turn as well. Delta being cracked. Finding a Meticulous Archive. We'll have another Surveil coming. Putting it in the bin. And drawing for turn. Looks like did go ahead and take down that Overlord. Psychic Frog attacking in. Discarding a land to the Psychic Frog to deal 3 damage, draw a card. The construct not blocking, looks like. And there's the 5th land. Overlord going to 3 on the end step. There is Springleaf Drum. And there's a Walking Ballista. That's going to get consigned. If the Broodscale player had more mana here, that would have been a perfect time to then follow up with the combo. But unfortunately, only 2 mana available. Well, 3, but using it all on the turn. Attacking in for 3 with the Psychic Frog. That'll bring us to 9 to 13. Drawing another card. Here's a 6th land for the Esper Blink list. Emrakul in hand, Ballista in hand, Broodscale in hand. Not enough mana to do it all. Honestly, not enough mana to do much of anything. Here's a Ballista, though. On 1. Springleaf Drum going to tap the Ballista to attach the blade. However, Solitude going to be cast in response. That Walking Ballista going to go ahead and ping the opponent. Bring the Blink player down to 12. It's now 9 to 12. Make that 9 to 11. After the crack of a fetch. So lethal probably incoming. Would be my guess. Plenty of cards in hand. Yeah, there's the Fatal Push. That would be 6 damage. And then 3 cards in hand to the Psychic Frog. And that'll do it for Game 2. Game 2 going to Esper Blink. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. We are on the march to 501,000 subscribers. So definitely hit that subscribe button. Even comment below about what your favorite Modern deck is. And what you would like to see on the channel. Or just to say hello. We appreciate all of you guys. As we start to move into game number 3 in this match of Modern Magic the Gathering. Broodscale really has proven itself to be one of the staples of the format, as has Blink at this point. Of course, the Blink lists have been back and forth between Esper and just Orzhov. Orzhov being a little bit more consistent, Esper being a little bit more explosive. Both players looking at 7. It's not a bad hand to start with. Game 2 being more indicative of what this matchup looks like. Ooh, starting off with a Vexing Bauble on turn 1. There's a Polluted Delta passing. Eldrazi Temple into a Shadow Spirit in passing. I guess having an option to give a giant Broodscale trample is kind of what the thought is here. Also turns off Indestructible for Ketramose, so that is something. Not that the Broodscale really cares about it that much, considering it's Dismember out of the board. So we're at 20 to 19 after this Polluted Delta gets cracked. And a Surveil off the shadowy backstreet. Putting the Consign to the bin. Oh, no second land. And having to discard for turn? Not bad. There's another Eldrazi Temple. Oh, there's the second land. Luckily it didn't last for too long. End step. Kozilek's Command. Flooded Strand getting cracked. Consign to memory. Dealing with the Kozilek's Command. 20 to 16 after the fetch and shock. Here is Urza's Saga. Lots of mana available. Another Kozilek's Command. Okay. Making dudes and digging. Putting what on top, though? Is this a Fleshraker move, or do you put Walking Ballista on top? Or do you scry it all to the bottom and draw? Okay, 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom. Looked like a Fleshraker and a Walking Ballista. Of course, drawing a card afterwards. Remember to finish resolving your spell, ladies and gents. Ooh, Clarion Conqueror. That's a new fun one from Tarkir Dragonstorm. Ooh, Walking Ballista for 0. 4 types in the yard. All but 1 mana. Oh, this looks like Emrakul the Promise End. There it is. Taking the turn. Oh, wow. Vexing Bauble really did some work. There's 2 Solitudes. A Fatal Push, Phalia, Overlord, and Psychic Frog. Move here is probably cast the Solitude for its evoke cost. It'll get countered by the Vexing Bauble. You get rid of 2 of the Solitudes. Cast Phalia and then Fatal Push the Phalia. Attack in with the Clarion Conqueror. That deals with most of the hand. Like, Overlord can get the Solitude back, but it won't matter at that point. There we are. Solitude. Gonna get cast and countered. There's 2 mana for a Phalia. Here's a Fatal Push, dealing with the Phalia. And Clarion Conqueror attacking into the Emrakul. Passing the turn. And that'll do it. Game, set, match going to Gruul Broodscale. What a game. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. And we will see you all next week.